All right, hello, my young grasshoppers. We are going to be doing a quick polynomial review for today. So let's go ahead and without further ado, let's get started. Bye, ugly mug. See you later. Let's go ahead and do this set of problems. Now, I'm writing this differently than I did before because it's going to fit with what we're going to be doing here soon. Okay. So these are the multiplies to be, adds to be problems. Okay. Now, I usually put them in an X, and no big deal. Just got to know which numbers where. So the multiplication number is the top number. The addition number is the bottom number. Okay. So that's how these are all written. So multiplies 35, adds to be 12, multiplies, adds, all the way through. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try to get these four. Okay, for number one, we start 1 times 35 is 35. 1 plus 35 is 36, not it. 2 doesn't work. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work. 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Hey, look at there. So my two numbers are 5 and 7. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you put where. I start here. 1 times 60 is 60. Adds to be 61, so that's not it. Next number is 2. 60 divided by 2 is 30. That adds to be 32, so that's not it. Next number is 3. Now, that adds up to be 23, but I need it to add up to be negative 23. So what I have to remember is I need to use negative times a negative. Okay, and those would be our two numbers. Okay, the next one, we always start with 1 times a number. So 1 times negative 40 is negative 40. 1 plus negative 40 is negative 39. That's not it. This number's 2. Negative 40 divided by 2 is negative 20. And all snap, there it is. Okay. So 2 and negative 20. Last but not least, for this one here, you start with 1 times negative 80. That adds up to be negative 79. That's not it. Next number is 2 times negative 40. That adds up to be negative 38. 3 doesn't work. 4. Negative 80 divided by 4 is negative 20. That adds up to be negative 16, so that does not work. Next number is 5. Negative 80 divided by 5 is negative 16. Well, that adds up to be negative 11. So what I need to remember is I'm allowed to switch which one is negative. So negative 5 times negative 16 is negative 80. If I add them, I get 11. Okay, we're going to do a quick polynomial review. Okay, so I want to make sure I go over these. If you want to try them on your own, that's fine. You can pause the video and try. But I just want to make sure I talk our way through these real quick. Make sure you're copying the problems down bare minimum. Okay, so the first two, we have add and subtract. Okay, remember, regardless of whether it's add or subtract, you've got to look in front of the parentheses. So in front of the parentheses, positive 1, I'm good. Positive 1, I'm good. Just add up our like terms. So our x to the thirds get added up. Okay, our x's get added up. And then our numbers get added up. Okay, remember, when we're adding, we do not mess with the exponents. That's going to be 4x to the third minus 4x plus 6. Okay, number 2, positive 1 in front, I'm good. Well, this has a negative 1, so remember, I have to distribute. So negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Negative 1 times negative 2n is positive 2n squared. Negative 1 times 8n is negative 8n. And then I like to scratch this off because I don't want it to confuse me when I go to add up my like terms. Okay, so my n squareds, I have negative 1n squared and I have 2n squared. Those are going to get added up. My n's, I have 8n and I have negative 8n. Those are going to get added up. And then I have my constants, 7 plus negative 4. So when I add these up, that's going to be positive 1n squared. 8n plus negative 8n is 0, so that's just gone. And then 7 plus negative 4 is positive 3. That's it. Okay, the next type that we did was ones that involved the distributive property. So you had your choice on how you organize these. You could use the box or you could just do the traditional distributive property. If you're using the box, remember this is one thing. There's nothing in between here, so multiplied to 3 things. So I would make my 1 by 3 box. My 7r to the third goes on the side, and then I split up my 3 terms for that trinomial. 7r squared, 6r, negative 5. And be careful doing your multiplications. 7r to the third times 7r squared, that's 49. Now remember, r to the third times r squared, they're multiplied. I have to add my exponents. And that's where a lot of times these get missed. 7r to the third times 6r, that's going to be 42r to the fourth. And 7r to the third times negative 5, that's negative 35r to the third. None of these are like terms, so just write them down as a polynomial in standard form. Positive 42r to the fourth minus 35r to the third. Okay. For number 4, okay, there's something in front, so I actually have to distribute. Okay, so that's going to be one of my problems I deal with. Okay, and this is going to be my other distributive property problem I deal with. So you got to do 2 distributive property problems to start this. Okay, now let me go ahead and make my boxes. That's going to be for the first one. And since I need space, this will be for the second one. Okay, I have 2k times 6k, 7k squared, 7k to the fourth. On the bottom, be careful, that's a negative 14k. And then that one is 5, 6k, and negative 3k to the fourth. And just make sure we do our multiplications. So 2k times 6k is 12k. Remember, k times k, they have exponents of 1. I add those exponents, it's k squared. 2k times 7k squared is 14k to the third. 2k times 7k to the fourth is 14k to the fifth. On the bottom, multiplying by negative 14. Negative 14 times 5, that's negative 70k. Negative 14k times 6k, that's going to be negative 84k squared. And negative 14k times negative 3k to the fourth is positive 42k to the fifth. And now we've got to add up our like terms. Okay, so my like terms, my k to the fifths, 42 plus 14, that is going to be 56k to the fifth. Then we have positive 14k to the third. That's the only one of its kind. The 2k squareds, 12 plus negative 84, that's negative 72k squared. Then we have minus 70k. So just make sure you take care of all of them. And there's our answer. Okay, the last type is the multiplying polynomials that we just did on last Thursday, I believe. And I like to do these with the box. Okay, so we have a binomial times a binomial. So for this particular one, I'm making a 2 by 2 box. Okay, one of my binomials I'm putting on the side. My other binomial I'm putting on the top. And then I need to do all 4 multiplications. Okay, so 7x times 8x, that'd be 56. Now remember, x times x is x squared. Okay, and that's something that you got to be careful about. 7x times negative 7, that's negative 49x. Done with the top, down to the bottom. 2 times 8x is 16x. Times negative 7 is negative 14. And I just add up my like terms. Make sure you do put it in standard form. So it's 56x squared. These get added together. That's going to be negative 33x and then minus 14. Now, number 6 is very similar, but this time we have a binomial times a trinomial. 2 things times 3 things. So just make a bigger box. So I just got to make sure one of the sides has enough space for 3 terms. My binomial, put it on the side that there's 2. The trinomial, put it on the side where there's 3. And now I multiply. 6n times n squared, that's 6n to the third. Do not forget, n times n squared, we are adding the exponents when we multiply. 6n times 4n is 24n squared. 6n times 7 is 42n. Done with the top, I'm on to the bottom. Negative 7 times n squared is negative 7n squared. Negative 7 times 4n is negative 28n. And negative 7 times 7 is negative 49. Add up our like terms now. So my n to the third is the only one of its kind. Add them up. My n squareds, remember, we are adding now. Do not mess with the exponents. That's going to be positive 17n squared. My n's get added up. Negative 28n plus 42n, that's positive 14n, and then minus 49. Okay, so those are the types of problems we're going to see on our quiz that's coming up. Those are also the type of problems that you are going to see on your review sheet. Now, there's one more type that we haven't gone over that I do want to make sure, oops, looks like I need to reload here, that I do want to make sure that we get to see. That way we're aware of how it's done. And it is our next type once this reloads here. Y'all, Shimon! There it is. These are our special case. Okay, so what we have here scenario-wise is we have a binomial, okay, with an exponent of 2 on the outside. So binomial squared. So when this happens, what we have to think about is this squared does really mean this. 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. So I do have 2 things times 2 things. I have to make a 2 by 2 box. If we forget to do the 2 by 2 box, you are going to forget multiplications that need to be done. Okay, and we have a 2x minus 3 on the side, and a 2x minus 3 on the top. Okay, it's a square. Both sides are the same. Okay, that's why we use the terminology for squared for an exponent of 2. And then we do our multiplications. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Down to the bottom, negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Add up my like terms, and I get 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Okay. Similarly, now this work, it's a binomial. That's why I do this part with the squared. Okay, this is not a monomial like we did the power property. It's a binomial. Make the 2 by 2 box. If you forget to do the 2 by 2 box, you will end up missing this problem. Okay, and both sides are the same, 7x minus 6 and 7x minus 6. And then we do our multiplications. 7x times 7x is 49x squared. 7x times negative 6 is negative 42x. Down to the bottom, negative 6 times 7x is negative 42x. And negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. Add up my like terms. I would have 49x squared minus 84x plus 36. Okay. So you will see one like that. That's I believe on our homework assignment. All right. Now we're going to split those of you that are virtual, that are just watching the pre-recorded video. You need to complete the virtual worksheet that I have on the Google Classroom assignment. Those of you that are here in person, you can, we're going to play review games. So just hang tight here and we'll start the review game. Don't worry about it. I mistyped here. Don't work on the Alex extra credit. If you get done early, work on catch-up work. Okay. Well, that's going to be it for today. So y'all have a wonderful day. Adios. Hasta luego. Arrivederci.